Good morning, friends. This is our last Sunday of God's Work, Our Hands. We are going to talk about one of my favorite Bible stories about water. Did you know that God uses water in a lot of stories about the Bible? We have the story about Jesus being baptized. We have the story about the woman in the well. We have the story about Noah and the rain. And we have the story about the parting of the waters. And that, also, Jesus walks on water, and there's just so many. But one of my favorites is the one about the parting of the waters. I'm going to tell it to you, so I think you're going to probably remember it. You've probably heard it before. But a long time ago, there was this very mean Pharaoh. He was a king of Egypt. And he said, I am going to take the Jewish people, and I'm going to make them do what I want. I'm going to call them slaves, and I'm going to make them do what I want, and they're going to work very hard. Well, God decided that they were his people, and he didn't like the way that the Pharaoh was treating them. So he said, I'm going to rescue them. I'm going to save them. And so what happened was that he sent a man named Moses. Moses and Aaron. He also gave Moses a friend so that he didn't have to go alone. And he said, Moses went up to the Pharaoh and he said, you need to let these people go. And he said, no, they do too much work for me. That's not going to happen. I need them. And so Moses said, okay, well, that's fine. But God, just know that God is working on behalf of these people. And so that night, God sent gross, disgusting frogs. And they covered the world and the land. And Pharaoh said, oh, okay, no. I didn't really mean it. I'll let them go. But he didn't let them go. And then God turned the water all gross and disgusting and red like blood. Ugh. And they said, no, I'm not going to let people go. And then he sent a swarm of locusts. And those are little tiny bugs that ate all the grain off the plants. So nobody had any food. And he said, no, I'm not going to do it. No. But finally, God just was like, okay, everybody pack up all their things. And he gave them a whole bunch of instructions. And he said, you're going to walk out at night and you're going to leave and you're going to follow Moses, and he's going to take you away from here. So they got all prepared. And they started to follow Moses. And they walked and they walked and they walked and they walked to the Red Sea. And yes, it's a sea. It's a body of water. And they said, oh, no. We walked all the way here, and God's going to just let us die here on the side of the shore because we can't walk on water. We can't get across. There's no way to get away from these Egyptians. And all of a sudden, God parted the actual ocean and made a path. And he said, go through it. Follow it. Go through it. And they were scared, and they said, no, we're not going to go through it. And he goes, no, it's okay. I'm going to hold these waters back for you so that you have a path to safety. And so they went. And the Egyptian soldiers came behind him, and God closed the waters on the Egyptian soldiers and allowed the Israelites to go to the new land. He used the mighty power of water to create safety, and he also used it for destruction. Now, we've been talking a lot about water. What happens when we get too much water? What happens when we don't have enough water? What happens around the world, and how it's not very fair how the water is spread out around the world and how people get hold of water. Well, we're going to learn a couple of new facts today, and then we're going to talk about what you can bring tonight to church to help with water. Okay? So, I want you to ask you a couple questions. What is the percentage of people, how many people do you think have limited access to, they can't get enough drinking water, clean drinking water? Did you know it's 17% of the world cannot get any clean drinking water? That's a lot. Okay. And on average, when you go take a shower or you take a tub, how much water do you think is being used? Okay. Now, when I talk about gallons, I want you to go to your refrigerator. I'm going to go do, and pause me and go to your refrigerator and take out your gallon of milk. Most of you have a gallon of milk in there. That's a gallon. That's how we're going to measure the water, okay? So you can kind of put that right there in front of you, and you can look at it. You don't have to empty it or anything. We're going to put it right back, so you don't have to worry about that. But put that gallon out in front of you, and that's what we're going to talk about. So how many gallons do you think it takes for a 5-minute shower? Okay, 20. 20 of the gallons of milk that is in front of you. And how much of the world's water do you think is fresh water? We have a lot of water. Did you know it's only 1% of the world's water is actually fresh water? The rest is salt water. Yeah, 1%. 1% has to be available for everybody. Okay. And did you know, just interesting to me, because I do like to play games and sports on fields, but there's one sport that actually uses quite a bit of water. Your parents might play it, and it's okay, but you just need to know that they use a lot of water. Golf. If you play around a golf course will use 3,000 jugs of water a day. Okay, so that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit of water. Okay, now 1 in 6 people in the world has limited access to clean water. Okay, 1 in 6. That means if there's 6 people in your family, only one of them has access to clean water, if you're talking about the whole world, okay? And it's usually, remember I told you, it's usually women and children that have to go get the water, right? And they usually walk, remember I told you that they walk about 3.7 miles. That's probably back to your elementary school and back probably twice, maybe 3 times. So that's how far they have to walk for water. And then they carry about 40 pounds of water on top of their heads. And they carry it, and they have to do this depending on how much water they need, because they can only carry about 5 gallons of water on their head. Now, pick up that gallon. See how heavy it is? Can you imagine carrying 4 of those on your head? You get a very strong neck, right? And so sometimes the water when they go there it's ready, and they can just get it, and it comes out clean because they might get it from a well, or they might get it from a water truck. But sometimes they have to wait to collect the water, and so they might sit around and wait. So this just collecting water, they could be doing different things. They could be going to school. Yeah, can you imagine if all the girls in your family, including your mom, had to spend their day collecting water? There wouldn't be much time for anything else, okay? No Girl Scouts, no sports, no soccer, no hanging out with your friends. Yeah, you'd be collecting water. And they could be spending it on growing some food. They could be spending it on, my favorite is I think that girls all over the world need to have an education. And a lot of times girls are sent to collect water and to make things and not worry about education, not be able to read. And we want all our girls to be able to read. So what I thought we would do today is I thought we would play a little game. Because you know me and games, I love a good game. Okay, so I'm going to tell you an item, and you're going to guess how many gallons, like the amount of measurement that's in front of you, like your milk jug, that it takes to do one of these things, okay? So, and then Miss Betsy put down how many miles it would take for them to walk to get that much water. Okay, here's some of my favorites, okay? Let's see. Okay. And now, one of my favorite things to wear is jeans. Oh, I love jeans. I have quite a few pair, but I didn't know this. But I found out, now maybe I need to think about how many pairs of jeans I have. But for a pair of jeans, it takes 2,900 gallons of water to produce one pair of jeans. That means that you'd have to walk 783 miles in order to get a lot of your jeans. Some of your jeans are made in countries that don't have access to clean water. So they have to go and walk and get the water. So your jeans are kind of, they take more water than a golf course. Isn't that funny? You wouldn't think a pair of jeans takes more than a water than a golf course, but it does. And how about a pound of eggs? To grow a pound of eggs takes 400 gallons of water. 400 of the milk jugs you have in front of you. And so in order to get 400 jugs of water, women and children would have to walk 108 miles to produce 1 pound of eggs. I go to the Walmart and I get my eggs in 5 minutes. Yeah, isn't that interesting? And 1 pound of potatoes. Oh, I love mashed potatoes. They're my fave with gravy. Takes 31 gallons of water, and you'd have to walk 8 miles. That's like walking, probably where you live, walking to the Walmart and back. Yeah, just to make 1 pound of eggs. Oh, here's one. Now, this is for Texas. Texas, we make a lot of beef here in Texas. We have a lot of cattle. And we use a lot of water to make, I love a good hamburger, right? 1,857 gallons of water to make 1 pound of beef. 1 pound. And when we eat our hamburgers, we're usually eating about a 1/4 pound of beef. So for 4 hamburgers, it's going to be almost 2,000 gallons of water. Think about that. 501 miles you'd have to walk in order to get that water. And I thought I'd do one last one. 1 glass of milk is 53 gallons of water. Now, would you want to be the person that had to walk and go get that clean water to produce all this? Now, it'll take about a lot of your time, but a lot of these countries do produce our jeans, our cotton t-shirts, our things that take up a lot of water, and we don't think about it because water is very easy for us to get. But one of the things that a lack of water can do is that it can make a lot of tension between people. Like, don't use all that water. I need the water for this. I need the water for that. This is important. This is how I make my living. Well, one of the things in Texas is that we make a living, lots of people here make a living off of raising cattle. And so they use a lot of water. And sometimes that makes Oklahoma a little bit mad because Oklahoma shares our water. And they said, don't use so much water on your cattle. We need it for our cows here. And so sometimes, there's arguments about who should be able to have access to water and who shouldn't. Well, there are certain countries, when they don't have enough clean water, they get into big fights. And sometimes people can go to war over water. One of the 2 countries that is really angry at each other over water is India and Pakistan, because there's a lot of people that live in India and Pakistan, and all of them need clean water, and everybody has a different idea about how to get clean water. Here's some ideas about how to get clean water. You can have a water filtration system. That means that you can filter out all the icky parts out of the water, and you can build those, but those are very expensive. You can use chemicals like chlorine to clean water, but you can swim in it, but it doesn't taste very good to drink, right? Or Miss Betsy talked about boiling water, and it takes a long time to boil water, but it's a safe way once you have it. It's clean. So, I always have to talk about Africa. You know that because it's one of my favorite places. But did you know that in 2010 in West Africa, how many people were affected by a drought? 10 million people. 10 million people. Now, you think about it, and we think about, oh, well, on the West Coast, it's getting scary out there because it was a drought and it caused fires. So, what I would like you to do is when you bring all your stuff to church for communion today at 6, if you guys remember that at Lent we had these little boxes that you could collect coins in, if any of you did that, why don't you bring that to church, and we're going to send it to the Lutheran Church. And what they do is they help build wells, and they help provide clean water. So if you want to do that, that is one way to help other people get clean water, and to get so that they don't have to walk so far or have to spend all their day getting clean water. So that we can help them build filtrations systems, and we can help them get trucks and stuff to get water. Okay? So if you bring all your stuff, I'm going to see you tonight. And I'm going to give you your Sunday school material because Sunday school starts next week. And you will have a whole bunch of treats in your bag. So I hope I see you tonight. All right. Bye-bye.